My name's Dan Williams. I'm 70 years old. I live in Plainfield, Indiana with my wife. We have 3 grown sons. We have 4 grandchildren. I'm a bone marrow transplant survivor. I had bone marrow cancer. My journey started probably around June or July 2022. I knew I just really started feeling tired, fatigued. Went to my family doctor and he took some blood work and alerted me that my white blood cell count was really low. So he suggested that immediately that I get to my hematologist, oncologist, which was Dr. Eberwein. Dr. Eberwein suggested that we do a bone marrow biopsy, which we did. And Dr. Eberwein told me that I had bone marrow cancer. And that next week I met with Dr. Mensing. Dr. Mensing laid out the procedure that I would have to go through, and they immediately started me on chemo. The big thing is, though, during this whole process is if you're going to have a transplant, you have to find a donor. And so immediately the people at Franciscan started to search their database to find a donor that would be very compatible to me. They came up with a 30-year-old male in Delaware, as my donor. And so I shout out to all the donors across the country that take the time and the effort to donate their bone marrow, because there is a shortage of that, and there's a lot of people that cannot have a bone marrow transplant because they don't have a donor. And that's the only way you can survive this cancer, is with a donor and with a transplant. There's no magic formula or magic thing that can happen. So it's very important that people realize the importance of having donors. To start this process, you have to have mental support, physical support as well. And my physical therapist was Macy. She was very, very good as far as getting me ready for the bone marrow transplant. She knew what I was going to go through. And then after the bone marrow transplant, she really brought me out of my shell, if you will.
So really with this program, what we do is we try to get your baseline before you go through transplant or CAR T, give you supportive services through the cancer treatment, and then for any need to rehabilitate after going through these advanced therapies, we also provide those services.
So Macy really helped prepare me physically for that procedure, and as well as mentally. If people go through the top program and go through the physical therapy and the mental therapy, it's going to really help them recuperate from the procedure.
It really changes people's ability to get back to their normal lives sooner after going through, this massive undertaking with treatment for bone marrow cancers. Well,
there's very few medical hospitals in the country that do bone marrow transplants. And my wife and I decided to go to Franciscan. And immediately they've got such a great clinic that's dedicated to bone marrow transplant and bone marrow cancers. It's a team approach with the doctors. So you don't just have one doctor, you have a number of doctors that will look at your chart, will meet with you and help you get through those procedures. I'd recommend it to anybody. I'd recommend Franciscan Health to anybody because I think it's a great procedure and they know what they're doing. It's not like they're at the cutting edge of things as far as helping the patient recover from that. Well, I have faith. I'm a faith-based person. I'm Catholic, so a lot of praying. I had a lot of people praying for me, and I felt their prayers. I really did. And I think that's important too, that you have a support system. That's the most important thing I can emphasize. You can't do it by yourself. You have to have a support system with you as you're going through this procedure. So it's a team approach, and I think everybody understands their job, their importance, and it's really patient-centered.